welcome back to the Boys of 161st Street, episode 136. Today is June 17th. The Yankees are finishing up their last game against the Blue Jays. We're recording in, what inning is it, Chandler?
That is top 9. Also, side note, Tatis is a fucking monster. Did
Yeah,
you
this
see
is
the
a
ball he just...
Tatis podcast, though.
I
Get
don't
into that
care.
at the back end, I guess. Yeah, so the Yankees have taken 2 out of 3 so far. Hopefully, ideally, we started recording during this because we hope to God this team can hold on. So, updates to come as we watch it, but they should, and hopefully we'll hold on to this one. But the Yankees have taken the first 2, ideally 3, with the Blue Jays, and honestly, I'm happy. I don't know why I wouldn't be, but I was not expecting this. They didn't run into the buzzsaw that we thought Vladdy was going to be. It is what it is. Good things are happening in Yankee land. We're going to play Hot or Not. We're going to play some voicemails today. We got a loaded show, lots to talk about. But before we do that, how you doing, Chandler?
I'm doing okay. Been a little sick the last few days, but bouncing back strong.
Got the second dose of the Invincible shot?
I did. I mean...
What did you call it? Is that what you called it?
Yeah. I'm going to go lick every sidewalk in South Carolina tomorrow.
That's
Well,
what
as soon as I can, as soon as I can, walk 10 feet without feeling nauseous again, then I'll be good to go. Maybe I'm just a bitch and can't handle a shot. I don't know.
No, I felt like shit after the first one, too.
Really?
And the second one, Wait, that was your first one?
No, that was my second.
After the first one, I felt okay.
No, I talked to a guy the other day. His brother's a doctor. I mean, I know a guy who knows a guy who said that the stronger your immune system, the more it affects you. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to run with it and just say that I'm basically the fucking Hulk.
All right. So the Yankees are playing baseball against teams that also play baseball, and yeah, they're playing decent
Well
baseball.
said.
They're playing decent baseball, and I'm happy about it. And we're gonna get into Hot or Not in a second, but it's the candidates that you wanted to start playing well are playing well.
It's just
there
was
baseball. Stands
no way
back,
in
hitting
hell.
runs.
No way in hell I would have predicted. If they hang on to this game, which is a big if in Yankee land, I would never ever ever have expected their first sweep in seemingly forever to come against the Blue Jays. I mean, The Blue Jays aren't a juggernaut by any means, but for fuck's sake, man, every time we play them, I feel like we just can't beat the Blue Jays, especially in their weird ass minor league park. I just feel like it's cursed every time we play the Blue Jays, and it still very well might be, but I can't tell you the last time the Yankees played well in the final game of a series.
No, they're 2-7 in the final game of a series, and specifically, like you're mentioning, it's the Blue Jays this year. They have been terrible. It's like we were against the Rays of old. It's just can't seem. We always have one team that we have a bugaboo with, and seemingly it's the Blue Jays, and they're playing good baseball. So, and it's important too. I mean, they're going to be in that. I think the AL East race is pretty far out of reach, to be honest. At this point, I was on Bronx Pinstripes, the Friday Fives episode that's actually releasing tomorrow as well. Right before this, shout out to them, shout out to me. Go check
nice
that
subtle
out.
flex there.
Go check that out. But we talked about, me and Andrew were mentioning how we think the division is, I think it may be a little bit out of reach. They have to, in order to keep pace with the Rays, who currently have the best record in baseball, they would need to literally go on like a 60-30 run from here on out. And I think that would mean, Andrew did the math, that would put us one game over the Rays, assuming they play, 10 games over 500, which they could potentially be playing way better than that. So honestly, and with the way the Yankees are playing, I don't know how you can assume that they're going to go 60-30 the rest of the way. It's just not a good assumption. So I don't know. I'm going to keep my expectations low, but I'm going to assume we're going to go into a wild card. And, if we get the bats going and everybody starts playing well and we just start stockpiling wins, maybe we could talk about it. But for the time being, we're working with a wild card. I can't even fucking speak. Start a podcast, you idiot. But if you look at last year too, though, we wouldn't have made the playoffs in a regular format. We're doing the regular format again this year, so it's just, I don't know, man.
Andahar just drew a walk.
That's wild.
I know.
But, yeah, man. I'm expecting, at the very best case scenario, a wild card, and something's got to change right fucking now. And hopefully with Voit coming back soon and Kluber coming back soon and the big man Darren O'Day coming back soon and maybe reinforcements on the way, we start to do that. I just my expectations and the expectations of Yankee fans, I'm assuming, is similar to mine in that the team that I've been seeing this year doesn't look like it's going to go 60-30 the rest of the way. So maybe they do, maybe they don't. I think the most important matchups that we have going forward are going to be against the Red Sox, considering we have about 13 of them, we have 16 matchups against the Red Sox still remaining because we got swept in that one series. So we're going to be competing against them for that wild card spot, for one of the wild card spots, because it's right now us, the Red Sox, the Astros, and the Indians are the teams that are like in that mix. And the Astros are a good team. They're probably going to get that first wild card spot if they don't win their division. The Athletics are also looking good, so they may be back in that mix depending on how that shakes out. But I assume one of those teams is going to get. Those teams are going to be the division winner in that spot, and the latter is going to be the first seed in the wild card. So we're going to go against the Indians and the Red Sox, and I don't think the Indians are all that, and I think it's going to come down to us and the Red Sox, and we have 16 head-to-head against the Red Sox, so those games, if you're going to circle any games on your schedule, yeah, we got to win other games too, but the Red Sox are the most important games ever because you got head-to-head, and you can give an immediate competitor for that wild card spot losses, and the division record doesn't even matter at that point because we're not going for – that's the tiebreaker for winning your division, not for the wild card. So that's just you're only worried about giving them more losses and giving them a worse record. So that's these games against the Red Sox coming up are going to be so important.
I mean, I wouldn't count us completely out of the East. It's so early still. I mean, I know it's not May or it's not April, but I mean, we're still in June. You still have 100 games left of the season, roughly. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility, but I would agree right now. I think you focus on chipping away at different milestones, right? So right now we were battling with 500. I think the next milestone is to get to where you're consistently winning series again. And then I think you try and push for home field advantage in the wild card. I think with the way that we came out of the gate in the first 62, 63 games of this season, if you can get home field advantage in the wild card in this division, you got to figure that's still putting you at 96, 97 wins. I mean, with the way the Rays are playing, it's not unfathomable to think they're going to win over 100. So if we end up with home field advantage, that means we're winning mid 90s in games. I'm okay with that with the way we started. Next week's going to be big. We play the A's first, full capacity game in New York. Come in there. If you play the A's well, I think that's really and truly a sign that things are maybe turning a corner. This team has tons of issues. Don't get me wrong. They can be masked for a series like they have been here. They can be masked for, 2-3 weeks. Something's going to have to change at the deadline. They say they're big name hunting for a center fielder and maybe some starting pitching. I would love to see that. They said they would consider going to the over the luxury tax. That seems like an every year thing where, if it's really a true thing, we'll bring it to Hal's attention. So I don't really believe that. But, if that's true and they go out and get a true piece and they kind of keep playing this brand of baseball instead of what we've seen, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we could win the East. But like I said, go out and get home field advantage in the wild card. And if you're playing the Red Sox or whoever at home in the Bronx in October with a full crowd with Garrett Cole on the mound, I feel pretty good about your chances going forward.
Yeah, I agree. Well
Thank
said.
you.
Want to get into hot or not?
Yes.
So
this is the first time I've ever had to do both.
Yeah.
Pressure's
Big
on.
shoes to fill, yeah. So we're going to start with the hots. For those of you tuning in for the first time, hot or not, basically just a short little buy or sell game that we like to play of the current players on the Yankees and how they're doing over the last short term or long term, people that we want to shout out or tell you how bad they are. So without further ado, let's get started with hot or not. If the sound will play for me. There we go. All right, first on the hots. Last 10 games for Gary Sanchez, 325 batting average, 11 hits, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. Hot or not? Buying it or selling it?
tentative buy. Or, well, I will buy, but not to that degree. Get into it.
DJ LeMahieu over the last 6 games, 325 batting average, 367 on base, 8 hits, 2 doubles, 1 homer, 4 ribbies, bringing his season batting average up to a 262. Buy or sell?
100% buy.
Brett Gardner over his last 14 games, 360 batting average, 485 OBP, 800 slugging, bringing him up to a 1.28 OPS over the last 2 weeks, to 232 WRC plus.
Sell to the moon and back.
So you said with Gary Sanchez, you were tentative buy. You'll leave that to the end. You were going to buy DJ for sure, selling to the moon with Brett Gardner. Explain to me why you tentatively bought Gary, because a lot of people in Yankee land, we put the polls out there. Did OJ do it? Is water wet? But also, is Gary back? And
the hard-hitting stuff.
The personal catcher stuff. We had to make sure there was a couple other things in there. I wanted to know if you guys are Cheez-Its or Cheese Nips people. There was a resounding Cheez-Its answer to that. I would argue that Cheese Nips are also very good, and you should give them a try. But
fun fact, I got sent up to the office in 4th grade for saying Cheese Nips. Apparently that's profanity.
It's vulgar.
It's vulgar. I was being a bad kid by saying that. So
with that poll, everybody seemingly, I think it was 80% on both Twitter and on Instagram, have said that Gary is back. I think you lean the same way, but I'll let you answer first.
I'm not saying that he's not back in the sense that he can be a productive player. I don't think he's going to be this good. We all know Gary Sanchez isn't a 300 hitter. Like, come on now. The way he's playing out of his fucking mind right now. And I think with how streaky he is, just in how he has been over his whole career, I think, law of large numbers, he'll come back and regress to the mean. But I don't think it's crazy to think that he could be better than what he is. I think he could be a consistently productive offensive player. He's shown that he can be. I don't think he can be this good for a sustained period of time. I hope he proves me wrong. I don't think that is likely.
I mean, on the season now, he's brought his batting average up to a 228, so he's above the Mendoza, which was a big deal for him. I remember before the season started, I shunned him and I wanted him to hit over his body weight, and then I would start talking about him again. I don't know how much he weighs, but I think he may have done that. I think he's less than 228. He lost a little bit of weight, so maybe that.
Yeah, you're close. You might be able to talk to him. I mean, give him one more hot week.
I think he's less than 228. No?
He's probably I'll look it up. He's probably right in there.
But either way, you looked that up, but I think, for me, I'm a pretty big Gary.
Ooh, he's 230.
Oh, so maybe after tonight, potentially. How do you do tonight?
Let me look. I think he's 1 for 3.
So that might just do it for him. So maybe he's finally got that unshunned.
1 for 4. He's at 229. Oh. Maybe tomorrow,
Gary. But for me personally, I've been probably one of the most hard people on Gary. I wouldn't consider myself a Gary hater. I'm just a realist, and he's been bad over the last stretch of time. And he has. Me and Andrew did talk about this too. This might be the hottest Gary's been for a stretch of a month, because since May 7th, in a 109 plate appearances, he's batting 263 with 142 WRC plus, which is very hot for him. I know that's not crazy hot, but that's a pretty big sample size since May 7th, and it's for as streaky of a player as he is. That's good to see, at the very least, that he's hitting 262 with a 142 WRC plus. And another thing to be noted, he isn't just like looking lost at the plate. He's got confidence, and that's huge for him. So that's something that is making me, lean a little bit more towards that tentative buy, looking towards the future, hoping that he can consistently keep doing it. Is it enough for me to be like he's back? Not yet, but I think he's on his way, and I think the biggest part of it is the confidence thing, and I think he has it right now. So, before Gary of old 2 months ago, last year, he looked absolutely defeated. So, when you look at him now, that's a good sign for him being able to keep this up. But you know,
I would love
it's not
for
enough for
him.
me yet to say
I would
he's
love for
back.
him to be better defensively. Still,
That's just not gonna happen.
he's made a couple decent plays in the last few days, but
Got 2 pass
um,
balls in the past couple days too.
he had a ball today that hit him in the fucking face, and it led to a
Well, there
run.
was one with King
Come
that
on.
was that King just threw in the dirt. That wasn't on him. But there was one the other day that was a pass ball. I mean, that's not going to change. I think, we talk about right now or by Memorial Day, it was, the team that you are at that point is the team that you are. Gary is that kind of defender, and that's just not going to change. It may incrementally change if they tried to do that, like stealing the low strike thing. I don't know. There's only so much you can do with a guy who's that abysmal at defense, and you just gotta hope the bat plays. And I think I'm confident in him at least not going back to the point where he was at before, if that's any consolation right now. But my question to you about Gary specifically is another poll that I put up on that same topic is do you think the personal catcher situation with Higgy is dead?
Like as in which way? As in that we shouldn't have a personal catcher anymore, or that this proves that no matter what we're gonna have it?
Well, I think it's been around. It's been
Well, I know. I'm saying,
happening,
what
and
are
I'm
you
saying
asking me when you say it's
now that
dead?
Gary is hitting pretty well right now, would you be? I know they asked Boone this too. Like, would you be interested in having Gary catch Cole starts here and there just to mix it back in? Would you be, if you were Boone, would you have Gary catch the Cole starts? Basically meaning that he would be the everyday catcher again. Are you done with the personal catcher, or do you still think Higgy should and is going to get his Cole starts? And
I think you should try and work Gary back into it. With the way he's playing right now, I think it's a no-brainer that you have to at least try. And if Cole comes out there and he's just not the same pitcher, which I'm kind of on Damon's side on that one. That's what you just made $324 million. You should be able to throw to whoever the fuck's back there. But if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But I would certainly give Gary a shot again. I think that's a no-brainer. I think you have to. The way you can't take his bat out of the lineup right now.
Yeah, especially with the lack of production all throughout this lineup for the whole season, you kind of have to. If there's one bat that's playing well and is getting a little bit back to that scary Gary in a little capacity, he's definitely one of the. I mean, the 2 home runs he's hitting. He's had 2 home runs in the past 2 games, in that being in this Blue Jays series, and they've both been the difference on the scoreboard. They were both 1-run games, and one was a big pinch hit home run that literally was the difference in the game. But the other day too, if you look back and you take that away, the Yankees don't win that game, or at least it's a different game altogether. So they've been big home runs, not in garbage time. Garbage time. You have a gripe?
I have a gripe with StatCast.
Gripe alert. Gripe alert.
Okay,
What's
yes. I have a gripe with StatCast. There's just no way in hell that Gary Sanchez home run went 440 feet. And then you're going to tell me Kevin Biggio's, who he hit at a 90-mile-an-hour exit velo, went 400. Gary Sanchez hit that ball out of the fucking screen. Like, he hit it into the highway. Fix your shit.
Fix your shit, StatCast. It's a proper gripe. So, I don't know. I think that... I don't know. Here's the thing with the personal catcher, and here's what this should be kind of framed to. I should have framed it this way, but I just want to see your take today. But like you gotta believe 1-game wild card, which is we just framed it before we opened the show, saying that it's probably gonna be a wild card that we make the playoffs if we're going to make the playoffs, which I do think. I am optimistic, but in all likelihood, the odds are on us being in the wild card game. That's a 1-game wild card. Garrett Cole will be pitching that game. That is the question. Do you have Gary catch that game, 1 game, win or go home? Or do you have Higgy because he's the personal catcher for Garrett Cole? And that's the question. That's why it's kind of a bigger deal to talk about now, because it's a situation you have to figure out right now, because you're going to need it. Because like I said, if Gary's playing well offensively, you need that bat in a 1-game wild card. Do you want Gary, a good offensive Gary, at the plate in a wild card game, or do you want just an automatic out, so to speak, because it seems that way. Not automatic out, but just lackluster offensive production for Higgy. Higgy can get hot, so definitely can get hot at times, but that's the question. And what would you do?
This is kind of my cheating answer, and then I'll give you the real one.
It depends.
No, it doesn't depend. Ideally, if they're actually working Stanton to play in the field, I think it's a non-issue.
DH.
I think you DH Gary, you catch Higgy, and it's an. But I mean, the more realistic thing, I think in that scenario, you have to. I guess you have to play Higgy, and if it started tomorrow, you have to do that just because you can't afford to take any drop off in Cole's production. You can't. I don't
Agreed.
know. You
I
can't
mean,
even
the
risk
numbers
it.
haven't been unbelievable when Higgy was behind the dish, but that could be for a number of factors. That could be the sticky stuff shit. That could be the personal catcher thing. That could be him going through just a low time. I don't know. It could be anything, but it's just something to that's definitely going to be a topic of conversation. This personal catcher conversation is not going away today. It's not going away tomorrow. It's absolutely going to be a topic of conversation on October 1st when we're in the wild card game. So, is it on October 1st? It's the 1st of October, right?
Not every year, no.
It's probably going to be whatever.
I don't know. It was October 3rd when we played the A's. I think that was the last wild card we played. That was the single game one. So do with that what you may. I
So,
actually remember that vividly. So just to, little
so,
gut punch for you.
so, 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 so.
So.
I think we're both on the same page that DJ, I wouldn't even say that he's back. I would say that he never really left. He just had a little, I mean, 2 months is a long, dry spell for him, but I had no doubts that he would be back to the way he is. And, he's got his batting average back up to 262, which is not great by any means, but he has, like I said, over the last 6 games, at least been batting 325. He's been doing the thing. He hit the leadoff home run. He's doing the DJ thing again, and I hope he can continue to keep that going. And for the Yankees' sake, offensively too, if he's producing, we've said this before, he is the lightning rod. He keeps his offense going. He gets this offense started, and that's a large part of the reason why the offense has not been great, because he sets the table for Judge. Judge gets him in. That's just how it works. Stanton's going to be playing hopefully every day. We mentioned before briefly that, Marley Rivera tweeted that he is what was the exact tweet? He said Giancarlo Stanton said that he is building his body back up to start playing the outfield, expects to be ready early July. Stanton stated that his main goal was to not be out of the lineup in the next interleague series. The next interleague series is against the Marlins, coincidentally, his former team.
Uh-oh.
So maybe there's a little, hometown
little extra
fire,
incentive.
a little bit of extra that he wants to show the people. But, we were talking about this last episode that he needs to play in the outfield. If he doesn't play in the outfield, we've seen it in games earlier today and earlier different games, and not earlier today, earlier this season, where he gets benched because there's no DH. If we're playing, who are we playing that he got benched for? Phillies. That was in the Phillies.
Yeah,
series,
it was
right?
the Phillies. It was
He didn't
last
play
week.
the. Hello. For the YouTube crowd, my cat just decided to join the show. Bronx Pinstripes YouTube, go check it out. But for the Phillies series, he didn't even play a single game, and that's not good. And if, let's say, we do make it, everything goes right, and we make it to the World Series, that's an issue. We need him to be playing the outfield, and like we do with many things, we spoke it into existence, and he's working towards getting back to the outfield. I think he can do it. I think the Yankees were trying to protect their investment. They know they fucked up with the contract, so they're trying to keep him healthy by doing the scheduled off days and everything like that. You don't have that luxury anymore, and I've said that before. I'll say it again. That was something that you could do when you assumed you were just going to waltz into the playoffs and win games without Stanton playing every single day, and you keep him healthy for the playoffs. You've lost that luxury. You need to go 60-30 the rest of the way to even compete for the division. You need him to you need to get some tread on those tires. You need to just throw him out there and let him get hurt. If he gets hurt, so be it. At least you gave him a chance to play and show that he could be healthy, rather than assuming that he's going to get hurt and just not giving him that opportunity. You have to literally let him do it. Just go out and let him get hurt. If he gets hurt, so be it.
I stand by that he'll be healthier by playing every day in the outfield.
That's true too, yeah.
His healthiest season as a Yankee, he played in the field.
2018, yeah.
Yeah, he played while Judge was hurt that entire year. I think it was like his oblique shit that he missed literally like 105 games. And Stanton played like 158. And he played in right field with a hurt hammy every single night. And that was his best year as a Yankee. He would look good in the field. I just, I don't get it. That's what he did in Miami, where he was MVP caliber every single year. I don't understand. I get where they're coming from, that they wanted to protect him and put him in a DH role, and he fits that with his build. But I, I just think it was a mistake from the beginning to try and take him out of that role. I just don't get it.
No, I
I
don't get
said
it.
it then, and
And
I'll
he's
say it until
yeah.
the end of his contract.
I mean, listen, it's because of the injury stuff, but I'm so done with that. Like, you can't just assume people are going to get hurt. I know it's a fair assumption to a degree because he's been getting hurt and all that stuff, but at some point, you got to just let the universe decide. You can't just play scared like that and be cautious about it. Otherwise, he's he's going to play half the games and not due to injury. It's just because of just keeping him from getting injured. At some point, you just gotta let him fucking go. Let his body get, like, he even said himself, he's trying to build up the strength. The only way to build up the strength, like you said, is to let him fucking play. So that's my gripe with that. I'm not gonna play the sound, but I've had a gripe with that for a long time, dating back to when we started this damn podcast, and I'll keep talking about it because I think he can fucking play outfield, and I think he can play it well. He's a good defender. Used to play every day in Miami. He played at near a lot of games, like you said, in 2018, arguably his best year. I don't think he likes to be a DH, and we've said it before. I think he's gonna start to get pissed that he's getting these off days because he's a competitor. He's an MVP player. He wants to go out and win. He wants to go out and play. And you think he enjoys sitting on the pine? No, he doesn't. So, last thing, you sold the shit out of Gardner. I don't even think that warrants talking more about it. I just wanted to highlight how hot he has been over the last
Oh,
2
he's
weeks.
been
He's been playing well.
huge.
And you know what? Maybe this is what we'll say about this. I don't expect that to continue to that capacity. He's got a 1.3 almost OPS. But if he is playing well, he's always going to play a pretty good outfield. He's going to field his position well. He may have a noodle arm, but he can field the position pretty well. If he's not a useless body, the worst offensive player in the MLB out there, that helps the team. We need the depth. We need the play in the outfield. He's going to get opportunities, especially if Clint's not playing well. I know he had that big RBI in the other game, but this is a good thing. As much as we like to shit on Gardner, this is a good thing. We're happy that he's playing like this, but I don't expect it to continue to this degree. Hopefully, in some capacity, he's playing well, but I just wanted to highlight how well he's been playing over this stretch because we would get the Guardy supporters up in our DMs, up in arms if we didn't mention him.
Can I add one person to the hot list for you?
Sure.
Aaron Boone. 3 straight games he's made a good pinch hitting decision. He made the call to pinch hit the first game, and then brought in Tyler Wade to run. He ended up scoring. And then Gary yesterday, and then today, you figure he would have probably brought in Clint, and he brought in Chris Gittens, who had the amazing at bat, worked the count, and then the Oppo single to drive in too in the 7th. You buying it?
Are you removing him from the hot seat?
I would no. His job's gone unless he wins the World Series. It's true. His job. He literally.
Is that what are you asking me if I'm buying that he's a good manager? No, I'm not buying.
No,
that.
I'm saying, are you buying that he is improving as a manager, or did he just get lucky with 3?
I broke clocks right twice a day, and I think he made a decision that ended up panning out. I think he got bailed out by like that. If Gittens doesn't do that, or Clint doesn't hit that RBI, like then we're having a different conversation, saying that Boone made a shitty decision. Why didn't you pinch hit X, Y, Z? And at the end of the day, the manager only has so much of a influence on it. So a lot of people will point the finger at Boone if that were to go wrong. Say like, hey, it's more the same of you being a bad manager because it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. He has been making bad managerial decisions in those situations. So you can point the finger because he's been wrong so often, but I don't know. I don't think this makes me think he's any better of a manager. I think I'm excited that role players are, coming through like that, but no, that doesn't sell me on him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just wanted to bring it up because I thought it was that is crazier to me than winning a sweep is the fact that he made that many good calls in a row and they all panned out.
Yeah. One thing that obviously not on the hot list, but we've talked about Tyler Wade before. He got the start today at second base. Um, I've said something before and all the time about this is the reason why we were the leaders of the Tyler Wade fan club for a little bit. We're off that train, but the fact that he plays such good defense, he can run and all that stuff, that is a reason why, we always say if his offense was even average or adequate, then he'd be a very important piece of this team. And this season, he has a 250 batting average, which league average this year is around 240 something. So
it's that high.
I know batting average isn't all that, but he's at least average with the batting, with the stick in his hands for the small sample size he has had. And he is very important on the base paths. He's very important defensively, although he just airmailed that double play today. I'll let him have that one, but just something I wanted to point out. And I know Voigt's coming back soon, and that problem is just going to be gone once he comes back because then Odor or Wade won't get starts at second. DJ will move back to second, and everything will be right with the world again when Voigt comes back. But until then, for these next few games in Oakland, because I think Voigt is supposed to come back. I have it written down here.
I think it's next or this weekend.
Voigt is expected to be back off the IL Sunday or Tuesday. So
Yeah.
I guess they're just being cautious with him considering he came off the IL and went right back on it once. So we're going to be cautious with him like we are with everybody. But with that being said, until that, would you rather see Wade or Odor at second?
So
Knowing that he's a relatively average in a small sample size hitter. I think his weighted runs created plus was like 79, so he's a little bit below average also. I don't know. Odor hasn't been good either, so.
No. Odor's been awful, and I'm going to pick Odor, and I'm kicking myself in the ass for it, but it's for one reason, and that's because as of late, there's been one guy that's been hyping up the team in every scenario possible, whether he's playing or on the bench, and it's Odor. Every time there's a home run, you see a bald head with a sweatband fucking leaping over the fence. He's going fucking crazy for that team. So you know what? I don't think you're taking a step down either way because Tyler Wade is not. He looked like dog shit tonight. Let's be honest, and he's not a good hitter. I don't care that he has a 250 batting average.
No, I just wanted to bring that up.
I mean, how many at bats does he have? Like 20, and he's got like 3 bunt hits, which I'm not taking away from because nobody on this team can bunt successfully. But I mean, he's got like 3 bunt hits, and he's got a handful of like singles, and he plays pretty below average shortstop. Okay, second base. He's fast. People love him because he's fast and he has the cool slides. And that's the bottom line.
And he's pretty.
Well said.
All right, want to get into the knots?
Yeah, I choose Odor. Okay, now I'm ready.
Let's see if that sound will play. All right. First on the knot list is Chris Kittens. Over the last 14 days, he's had 19 plate appearances, not counting tonight because I calculated these before that, but with 11 weighted runs created plus. That is not good. A .059 batting average, a 158 OBP, and his first homer. Congrats, golf club on that. But buying or selling, you worried about Chris Kittens, or are you not worried? You say fuck it, whatever.
I don't think it matters.
Just thought I'd bring it up there and give him a little bit of golf club. Next
I'll sell it then because good for him. He's 27, hit his first home run in the big leagues. And I don't think I think if you let him up there, he wouldn't be that bad. But it's all for nothing. Voigt's going to be back in a week, and even if he wasn't, he's still a bench bat.
Mike Ford cracks the knot list just because. I mean, man, you get traded to the Rays for $100,000. That's a Venmo transaction. I probably gave like vending machine credit or something like that. Just that
It's
he's
literally
making the not list for that, and because he's been garbage all year. So this is
it's
like
literally
the
the
final
Moneyball
farewell.
trade.
Yeah, it's the final farewell not list.
Yeah, no, totally buy that. You know,
So,
I am the biggest Mike Ford hater ever.
So
It's
tip the cap. Good riddance. See you later. Thanks for the memories.
Thanks for the memory. He had one
Yankees
good memory.
pitching over the last 14 days. 29th in strikeouts per 9. 24th in ERA. 27th in expected FIP. 9th most runs allowed.
Tentative buy the same way as Gary.
And also honorable mention was the Yankees offense, but we've been talking about them forever because it
They've
seems
been
like
good.
It seems exactly. So in our eyes, they're doing well, but in the last 7 days, they're still 29th in BABIP, 25th in batting average, 16th in WRC plus, and 10th in strikeout percentage. So
I don't care. We're up to 6 runs a game almost.
That's fine. I know. I'm just saying. Just wanted to mention even them coming alive isn't the best. And what we talked about before, the reason why I wanted to nail the pitching is because the pitching has been, best in baseball for the first month or so, and then we always said this is hiding a lot of the underlying issues with the Yankees because if they start pitching not like the best team and the best pitching team in baseball, we're going to start losing games because we're winning games like 2-1 and like 2-0 and 1-0 and all that. It was hiding the underlying offensive issues, and now that the pitching is pretty damn bad over the last 14 days, I know small, albeit small sample size, but there's no shock as to why we started losing games, and hopefully that picks back up. Maybe that's a spider tack thing, so that's the last 14 days. So maybe everybody caught. I guess our team was the most used. We're using the most sticky stuff out of the entire MLB, but that's just something to be noted there.
I mean, I think it's a combination of things for that, and that's why I kind of tentatively bought it with the Gary thing. I don't think they're as good as they were at the beginning of the season, and I don't think they're as bad as they are now. But factor in, Devi is basically, a dead racehorse in AAA. Like he's down there.
Bad.
He's got 7 ERA in AAA. Kluber's gone. He's hurt with his shoulder.
I thought he was coming back soon.
Oh no, he is, but he's been gone for this, and then you never know how that's going to come back. He didn't come back from it last year. He had one start, and then you got Michael King starting, and then just normal regression from the other pitchers that aren't throwing 7 innings, 1-run ball anymore. It makes sense.
I'm gonna get the arm loose,
dude. Please do. Go out there. I bet you threw some nasty innings in high school baseball.
I taught myself a knuckleball back in the day.
That's what everybody who doesn't throw harder than like 82 does.
No, I threw pretty good. I threw the gas. I was always shorter than everybody, so I learned to use the whole body. I guarantee if I kept pitching, I would have absolutely had Tommy John at some point. So maybe
that's what cut the career short.
That's what cut it out. It's just the potential threat of having Tommy John. I just couldn't do it. Wouldn't be able to have an elongated career in the accounting field.
Yeah, you can't pitch scared.
Can't pitch scared. Can't give Stanton off days. Can't do it. It all ties. It does. So what were we saying?
I don't know. Basically, just that our pitching is not good, but they're not this bad.
No, I expect them to come back, but yeah.
I mean, you toss in a few starts too, like Tyone not getting an out.
Tyone stinks.
That inflates it. Also, just one thing while we're talking about pitching, I want the people that every time Cole throws a ball, they're like, "Oh, he doesn't fucking need spider tag, does he, dumbasses? Can you guys shut the fuck up? Yeah. He's fine." PSA. His 2 games back, that
sounds like a gripe.
It is a huge gripe. It's so fucking annoying.
Also, on the pitching note, Severino has been sent back. He's got a grade 2 groin strain, which will push his rehab back about a month. Timetable is probably around August when he will return. That means end of August or early September. He was supposed to be that horrible saying, which is my least favorite saying in the world, which is, he was going to be that trade deadline acquisition that the Yankees would get, which is just not the case. He's been a trade deadline that we've been hearing that for so long with specifically Luis Severino, but they say that for a lot of people. But Sevy is just always hurt, so he's just always been that trade deadline acquisition. I don't like that. I hate that saying. But now I think this setback is one devastating. I'm very upset about it, and he was looking great also. So I'm just happy at least, silver lining. It wasn't his arm, so it was a separate thing, which could be a good thing if you look at it that way. But it also could be a bad thing, as like, oh, he's just getting hurt all over. Like what's it gonna be next? But with this, I think this all but eliminates the possibility that he's going to be a rotation piece coming in. I think this all but says he's going to be, when he comes back, and if he comes back, he will be coming out of the bullpen, I think, is my thought process on this.
I don't think that's necessarily true, and that's because when he was hurt in 2019, I think it was 2019. Yeah, that was before his Tommy John. So 2019, he came back in September, had his tune-up games, and he'd started a couple playoff games for us. He didn't go deep into the games. He had like 2 times through the order, but he started some games. And with the way our rotation's in shambles right now. You have Cole and then a bunch of question marks. Kluber is going to be pitching, off of a shoulder he's already hurt. He re-injured it, hasn't thrown in 2 years either. Him and Sevy are basically plus or minus a few starts on the same ground injury wise. And then behind that, you've got Tyone, who fucking has just been awful. Mike King, and then Domingo, who will, as it is right now, he'll slide right into the 2 spot if the playoffs were to start. I mean, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that you could get him starting a playoff game in a long series.
If he's in the rotation, if that even happens, you're not he's gonna, let's say they say August. I'm gonna go out and assume September 1st. He's gonna be here, right? Plus or minus a week or so.
He's supposed to come back late July now, so mid-August maybe probably
if we're lucky. But
would you rather?
You know how Yankee injuries go and how they fuck up the timelines all the time. So I, as a Yankee fan who has PTSD, am going to assume September, putting him a month out of the playoffs if we do make it. If that's the case, dude, he's not. If he is a starter, let's say he is a starter, he's not going to go more than he has a month to build up the stamina to go. He's going to give us max 4 innings every time he goes.
Well, he'll also have a month of rehab starts before that. So, and I'm just saying,
you don't build up the stamina. You build it up in real games, though.
Would you rather have, say, it's game 4 in the CS, and you don't want to pitch Cole on short rest or anything like that, and you got to choose between Sevy, who he came back and he looked really good, but he can't give you 6 innings, or Montgomery, who's a wild card, he could get shelled, or he could give you 6 or 7 innings. What are you taking? I think it's a no-brainer. You pick Sevy. If their stats are remotely similar and he looks like anything close to what he should be, I think it's an absolute no-brainer that you throw him out there over Montgomery, which is your next best option.
Montgomery, to be honest. You know what it does tell me, though? I think we can agree on this. What we thought we had when Sevy was coming back was there were so many pitchers in this rotation that were at the beginning of the year when they were pitching their absolute dicks off. We were like, oh, we have so much depth because we assumed, some of the depth pieces are, when Domingo, he's one of those. Tyone, we assumed would be good. Devi, we assumed would be a part of it. Clark Schmidt, we assumed would be a part of it. We assumed Sevy would be coming back halfway through, not in September or August. We looked like we had so much depth, but this injury, this setback to Sevy, along with Devi being bad, along with Tyone being bad, like I just mentioned before, and Clark Schmidt working his way back, I think, we got to get more help in the pitching department.
Have to, even if it's a 2 or 3 starter.
If it's like I'm looking at guys like Kyle Gibson, who's going to be on the market. He's from the I think he's on the Rangers, right?
Yeah.
So he's having a nice year. He would be a nice depth piece. I'm looking at guys similar to that as just we need the help. I'd rather have the help than not. I mean, it's just that's obvious. I don't thanks for being so fucking obvious, Luke. But like,
I mean, I think we need exactly that though. You're right.
We need to be that like obvious with it because I don't think the front office knows that. Like they're like, oh, we're fine the way we are. Like we aren't.
You need a
Tyone,
1-year
do you want to see
rental right
Tyone?
now.
Yeah, do you want to see Tyone in a fucking playoff game? No, I don't. Do I think we're gonna get Scherzer? Probably not. Would I love it? Absolutely. But I don't think that I want to see Tyone out there. I don't want to see. I'm starting to feel a little bit of confidence in Montgomery in a playoff game. I know we did that against the Rays last time. He had a nice start that time, but like I don't want to see Devi. I don't want to see Tyone. I don't want to see. Dude, Sevy hasn't had great playoff starts. His playoff ERA is very bad. He's been shaky in the
That's
playoffs.
inflated, though.
Notoriously not a great playoff pitcher. And, until proven otherwise, I'm going to stick to my guns. And that's how I'm going to feel going into a Sevy start on that morning when Sevy is penciled in as the starter on the bump that day. Are you going to tell me you're confident? You're lying if you say you're 100% confident.
I'm not 100% confident in anybody on this team other than Cole, but I feel whenever Sevy's on the mound, I feel as confident as I would as if he was the ace, a regular ace, I guess, because Cole is not a regular ace. He's otherworldly. He's top tier on the planet. I feel as confident with Sevy in any start that he makes as I would your run of the mill ace of a staff.
DeGrom is top tier of the planet. DeGrom is fucking unbelievable. Did you see that? And not to make this about the Mets a little bit, but I was watching.
Doesn't matter.
When Cole and him were on at the same time, I was at a bar, a happy hour, celebrating my 2 weeks notice in my job. But we were sitting there, and Cole on one TV, DeGrom on the other, and both doing well. But man, DeGrom he got hurt that game, but DeGrom is fucking good. And then he
still had
and then
8
he hits the RBI
Ks
too. He has a 400 batting average and like a 1 dot something OPS. It's ridiculous what he does for the Mets.
He's driven in 6 runs and allowed 4.
Conversation. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
And you know what? The thing is, he threw 3 innings, but he still racked up stats. He threw 3 perfect innings and struck out 8 of the 9 batters.
Yeah, my buddy had the over in the strikeouts for the game. I think it was 8.5 because he got it late after, I don't know. So he got a live line, and he was so excited. And then when he got pulled right at 8, he was so mad. It was crazy. That's the only way he wasn't hitting that prop bet was if he was literally taking.
If he got hurt in the 3rd inning.
Yeah.
If he had stayed one more inning, he would have finished with 10.
Yeah. So what else did we want to talk about? We mentioned Cole talking about the sticky stuff, but since we've talked about it last time, he had that bad interview the first time when he just didn't answer. He just like, but he has since said some stuff, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Also, the Glasnow comments are pretty relevant. He was pretty animated about that. I'm sure everybody listening has seen that already, so I'm not gonna play those comments because I don't have them queued up.
We played on the last one, I'm pretty sure.
The Glasnow comments?
Yeah.
I don't think so. But
I'm like 98% sure we did.
I don't know, but he brought some interesting things to light with this whole situation. I know everybody's beating a dead horse on it, and there's been some good points that have been brought out since about the whole situation. And one thing that I did notice, I think that I resonated a lot with, not resonated, like I thought was very interesting, was in Dallas Braden. I don't know if you've seen his comments on the matter, but he was saying that you look in the on deck circle at all of these guys. Every batter has multiple different items or substances that can give them grip on their tool of choice, their bat. Like they get pine tar, they get pine tar spray, they get batting gloves, they get this, that, and the third to get grip on their tool. But why is the pitcher not able to get grip on his tool? He needs to do the same job on his side, and all they get is rosin, and rosin reduces the moisture on your hand. And if the ball is already dry because it is rubbed in dirt and all that shit, and to top it all off, like they're messing with the baseballs and making the seams lower, which is harder to grip too. All that combined, you need to be using something. So I don't know if the solution is, having some kind of substance that is allowed to be used that isn't quite as sticky as spider tack or something like that. That is like an allowed thing. It's on the mound next to the rosin or something. Maybe that's something that the league has to do. They got their work cut out for them, but it's certainly not just like, I'm on the side of the pitchers as you can't just say don't do this anymore, because everybody's been doing this for a long time, and we've spoken about this at length that like we just now have the ability to track it. So I don't know. I just think it's for safety concerns too. You have to think about that. You want the pitchers to have grip so you don't throw at players. We have enough
Yeah,
people throwing at players unintentionally. You don't want the unintentional grip slip. And when
the
you have
injury
guys
stuff.
like Glasnow and Cole coming out talking about how you feel very different. That's not just like having Mike Fiers come out and say like, "Hey, it's tough to pitch without sticky shit," because he sucks. Like it's when you have the Cy Young candidates, the Cy Young front runners saying, "Hey, we need this shit." That resonates because they're actually good. Like they're on the forefront of pitchers in the MLB right now. That carries a lot of weight when they say that. I don't know. I'm on the side of the pitchers. I don't know about you.
No, 100%. I don't think the uh, bat comparison is really the same thing because yeah, gripping the bat and gripping a baseball, it's a lot easier to manipulate a baseball. I get that, but you can't. I kind of like where Bauer comes from on that. You can't change and Glass now. You can't change in the middle of in the
Yeah,
middle of the season.
that's
Just
true.
cut it off, cold turkey. If you do it, you're suspended. There has to be some sort of guidelines for it. If you want to police it, that's fine. Do it in the off season or make a list of what's acceptable. Which I don't know how you expect the umpires to police it either way. You think the umpire knows the difference between fucking spider tack and
No.
tar or rosin and sunscreen, whatever it is? They don't know the difference. I think it's dumb as shit to do that in the middle of the season. I think making a move that drastic takes time. You're going to have to come out with one substance that's basically like pine tar for a bat, and you're going to have to make it a league wide thing that's readily available and easy to see and spot to police it. And that you can't do that overnight. Rob Manfred's a fucking moron. The dude, yeah, drives me absolutely insane. Did you see Carlos Rodon's interview about it
That what he said?
from the White Sox? Oh, he was just like, man, he's like, this is just fucking ridiculous. Like, I don't know how you can not suspend the Astros, who literally cheated their way to a World Series,
Oh
but you're
yeah,
gonna tell me
it's
that
true.
he's like, but you're gonna tell me in the middle of the season that I can't grip the baseball like I have been my entire career, and I'm gonna get suspended more than them, who
That's
got
saying,
caught cheating.
yeah, that's saying they've said that before. I forget about something else. Like any little instance where punishments are doled out, that's gonna keep rearing its head, and everybody who gets the punishment is going to say, "Oh, and you didn't give the Astros a punishment for cheating, openly cheating," and that's gonna keep happening. And that's just a blunder on the MLB's behalf, and everybody's gonna be like, literally any little punishment that's given out to anybody is gonna be like, "Why didn't the Astros get punishment, but I did
No, it
for?"
doesn't. It
for
literally
spitting
does not
seeds on
matter.
the field or something. Like,
That'll be going on until Manfred retires, gets fired by whoever, gets run out of town. He should have resigned immediately after that got came out, in my opinion. And he's just
let's go to
proven
our
my
first
fucking
phone
point.
call. We got some
Sorry,
voicemails.
I hate that.
Calling call into the voicemail line 914-469-2168. We got some good phone calls and we want to keep them moving. So keep them calling. Make sure you mention your name, where you're calling from, so we can shout you out. We also love to hear where you're calling from because it's fun. We want to see how wide our audience is, so it's fun to see that. We got some from Puerto Rico. That was always fun. So first caller is calling about, I guess we'll find out, for Ryan from Massachusetts.
Higgy retaining his. Hello, Ryan from Massachusetts calling in. Um, Recently saw you guys poll about Higgy retaining his spot as the personal catcher. And I guess this is more of a general comment about the sudden shift from Gary Sanchez love to hate to love to hate to love that the fan base seems keen on doing. I think it's pretty clear that Higgy's got to stick where he is. We have seen again and again Gary's ability to pull off some pretty impressive 2 week, 3 week, sometimes a month long spans where he hits 300, 350, hits 8 home runs in a month, and plays a good game. And then every fucking time he disappoints and goes on a 3 month skid where he strikes out 40% of the time he comes to the plate. His 230 average goes well below 200, and we think that we should have let him go, which seems to be the case, as 80% of the time he's in his slumps. Also, round odor for team captain. Thank you for your service.
What was that last part?
I think he said Odor for team captain.
I mean, that plays with what you were saying. He's a big
Dude, he's a
locker
hype
room
man.
guy. He's the locker room guy that Murph always talks about. But I mean, we talked about this already, Ryan, but we will talk about it again for a little bit. And I do agree with you in the sense that the fan base is quick to be like, oh, he's back. And that was the reason why I brought it up before, is like, I don't think he's back. I think he's just doing exactly what he always does. And that's why I need to see it for a more consistent period of time. For him to be back, I need to see him do this from here on out for the rest of the year. Like, I need something that I haven't already seen before. I've seen him be streaky like this before. It's been done. I want to see him do it consistently. It doesn't need to be at the level that he's at right now, just tearing the cover off the ball every day. Just hit, like I said, hit 260 from here on out, and I will be a very, very happy man. Just do it maybe not even 260. Hit like 250, and just don't be having those periods of time where he strikes out every at-bat and looks lifeless. Like, that's what I would consider Gary being back. And I think that saying alone is unfair to say, because he has this unrealistic expectation to be doing what he did in 2017 when he came up, and that's why I don't ever think he's truly back, if that's what you're asking about him. But in terms of the league, the catcher position is very lackluster offensively, so if he's even at it, like, he's definitely up there, and that's the argument for Gary's supporters. It's like he's up there in offensive production since he's been in the league, and that's true. But he's also going through those lulls where he's playing pretty terrible. So in my opinion, I would do away with the is he back conversation, but I would instead say, is he not horrible? Like, is he not the worst? And that's,
I mean, I just want to see
average enough to not have this personal catcher conversation. How about that? That's what I want. If you're good enough, Gary, to stave off Kyle Higashioka, then that's what you need to do, and that's what I hope you can do, and that's what I will be impressed by at the end of this year. If we look back and do the season review episode, hopefully in Vegas, like you say, if we win the World Series, we'll have the Vegas episode. I hope we look back and say Gary was able to stave off Kyle Higashioka.
The only thing I've ever asked for Gary Sanchez is consistency. I don't care if it's a consistent 240 with 30 home runs. I feel like that's a pretty good season for him. I feel like that's about what we expect. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Okay, I'm good. So that's what we want, is like 240, 30 home runs. Be that power bat that's supposed to be the middle of the order guy, and play adequate defensively. Don't have the lazy mistakes, which I know people say he's not lazy. I'm not saying he's lazy in general. That's neither here nor there. I'm not having that argument right now. This isn't a shit on him. He's been great, but he makes lazy mistakes, like the shit today where he just flails his glove up at the ball that's right at his face. It knocks off and it ends up costing a run. Cut that shit out, play consistent offensively, and I'm happy. That's it. I don't want a month of 300 and then a month of 100 and then up and down and up and down and up and down, because there's just no, that's I don't know. That doesn't help the team.
Let's get to the next phone call. Alex in San Diego.
Uh-oh.
Hey, what's good, boys? My name's Alex. I'm in San Diego, California. And I know we just took 2 games from the Jays. Nail biters, both of them.
3.
But I'm still freaking scratching my head over the comments about Cashman saying that he slept on the same bed as Boone. I know it's kind of sus in New York, especially with the fact that Aaron Boone is still the manager. So I just don't know what's going on, man. But, I mean, I'm not getting my hopes up or anything. We've won a couple games. We won a couple series a lot of times this year. And then we go and fucking get swept by the Tigers. I don't know, man. I still think fucking Boone, Cashman should get the hell out of New York. And if it weren't for the 2017 piece of shit Astros, we'd still have Girardi, and I'm pretty sure we'd be way closer to a ring than we've been with Boone. Aside from that, just have to vent that out there. Much love from San Diego. Keep doing your thing, boys.
Appreciate the call, Alex. Appreciate the support from San Diego. Go.
Yeah, I mean, good.
Fuck yourself, San Diego. No, I'm kidding, around Burgundy. But Yeah, no,
Good for
appreciate the
you
call.
for being a Yankees fan when you have Tatis right down the road
Well,
from
that's
you.
new. That's new. He didn't make that decision now. I'm sure he's a
I,
little
I'm
bit
just, I'm
upset
just
this year,
saying,
but
man.
yeah. No, yeah. I'm sure he hears it from his friends in San Diego there. But thank you for the call, Alex. If you guys want to call in, 914-469-2168. Give us a call. Maybe you'll answer. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah. What are your thoughts?
Oh, me.
You,
Gotcha.
the other
Yeah,
person on the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
podcast.
I just zoned out there, but still feeling the effects of my invincibility shot. Yeah. Um. Yeah. No. I pretty much agree with that. I think unless you win a World Series this year, I don't care if they make the playoffs. I really don't care if they make the DS. I don't care if they make the championship series, which I don't think they will. Something has to change. You can't just keep running the same shit back every single year. We've been saying it for a while now. We said it last year
It's the
too, and they
definition
did
of insanity.
doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. We've been doing it every year since 2017. Cashman's resume isn't as good as people think, and I know people are starting to nitpick it more now. And he'll always have his supporters for trades like the Voigt trade and Talkman when he was good on the next man up team and all that shit. But he doesn't have dick to show for his time here outside of the 2009 World Series. The other ones weren't his teams. I I think it starts there. I really do. I don't think Boone is the right manager for this team, regardless of how they're doing. And like I said, he's gone at the end of the year, no matter what, unless he wins a World Series. So I'm not worried about that. I think if Howell has the balls to fire Cashman, I think that's step one in the right direction of changing the identity of this team. Because, like I said, regardless of the outcome of the season, unless it's a World Series, I want to see a shakeup in this team and the identity of it, the philosophy of it, because the brand of baseball they're playing right now that's just not what gets you to the big game. It's not.
Doesn't get you to the dance.
No,
Let's go to
sir.
our next caller. I think he had a little bit of optimism.
Edwin Reyes from Huntsville, Alabama. Diehard Yankees fan down here. Family's from New York. Man, I love what the season's going on, the ups and downs. I really think this team is going to get it together. Offense looks like it's starting to click a little bit. The ball's about to be a little bit jetted with all this spin rate going down. I think the murderer's row is about to be back pretty soon, dude. MVP year for Judge. If he can stay healthy. Hopefully Stanton can get healthy and play the outfield. Other than that, I see our rotation still being solid back behind Garrett. Go Yankees, man. I like you guys.
Go Yankees, man. Holla at ya. Didn't catch the name. What was the name?
I didn't hear it.
Either way, appreciate the call for sure.
I was locked in on the Huntsville, Alabama. I was like, oh shit, I actually know a place that's kind of remotely close to where I'm from, so got excited.
That is exciting. I do love the optimism. So, I mean, listen, if the boys get back buzzing, I am confident that they can figure it out offensively. There's too much talent on the team. I mean, it's $200 million for the payroll. Like, the talent is there. And I had this crazy Pepe Silvio like theory that Pepe Silvia reference to Always Sunny. I'm sure you got that. For those listening, if you didn't get that, it's a scene where the gif with Charlie with like the murder thing all over the wall. Like, just it's a conspiracy. But here's my theory. I guess this is a rounding third, if you will.
I will.
Which we haven't done in a while. We should do those again. Here's my rounding third. I think this Yankees team, since we're playing so bad, I think playing bad. This is obviously under the assumption that we make the playoffs. Let's say we make the playoffs, we figure it out, the bats get going. I think because we were so bad before the deadline, we were forced to have the front office, Cashman, Hal Steinbrenner, were forced to buy more players at the deadline than they were planning on doing. Like, they're doing it out of panic. They're doing it out of like, oh, we just heard Cashman say that he hasn't ruled out going over the luxury tax, which isn't really his decision. It's the Steinbrenner's decision. But that being said, this pressure that has been forced upon the Yankees by playing bad wouldn't have happened if we were playing normal baseball. And then come playoff time, the team is going to be way different. these are two alternate universes. Let's say like we were playing relatively good baseball, not as much fire under their ass right now as it is now because we're playing so bad. We're forced to literally just stack up on players. Now, let's say we do stack up on players, go over the luxury tax, get a Scherzer or somebody, whatever the fuck it is, Ketel Marte and Scherzer, go over the top, do it because you don't want to be the laughing stock anymore. You were a World Series favorite, and then you came in and did this shit. So you go over the top, and then combine that with the players on the team that were on the team, $200 million payroll, turn it around like they should because they're talented. Now, that team in October is now way deeper and has a lot more assets because you were forced to buy versus the team that played average, if not adequate, and then you make it to the playoffs either in both scenarios, and then you just don't have those added players that you were forced to buy. So my theory is that it's honestly, if we do make the playoffs, it's a good thing that we were so bad to start because we would be forced to buy a lot. I know that's a long-winded answer, but I think if you put your tinfoil hat on, that's a potentially good thing for the Yankees.
I kind of like that.
Right?
I kind of like that.
Right?
I mean, it makes sense. It would take Hal Steinbrenner to actually, loosen the purse strings a little bit. Let Cashman go. I'm just saying. I kind of like the idea. I think Cashman is realistically working for his job here, if not this season, in the next 2 seasons or so. I think the pressure's on him to get a deal done, and I think if he gets the opportunity to go over the luxury tax, why not go get Ketel Marte and Scherzer? Why not? I'm gonna be on the I'm gonna play optimism card for once because I'm usually a really pessimistic dick all the time about this team. If I see what you're saying though, because if we came out here and we were meddling through, just hanging out, top of the division by like a game, they're just gonna be like, yeah, we believe in our team. We're already
yeah.
Well, no, that you're gonna get this line. We believe in our team. We're already on top of the division, and we have trade deadline reinforcements coming in. Sevy, Voit, and whoever the fuck else is hurt. Make a list. O'Day. The best stopper of the year.
Baseball, yeah.
Cy Young candidate.
That's all I'm saying. I'm saying he's now forced to add assets that he wouldn't have otherwise. And if those assets that you already had end up playing back the way they were supposed to, now you have a real good team. Now you have a Death Star. If a lot of things go your way. And that's also assuming that you haven't dug yourself into a hole that was already too deep to get out of, which may be the case potentially. So a lot has to go right, but I'm saying don't be shocked if you sit down on your couch in October, this team makes a wild card game, and they can make a damn run because you were forced to buy some assets that you wouldn't have had otherwise in an alternate universe where the Yankees were actually decent. So that's what I'm looking at right now.
Starling Marte leading off in the wild card game.
Don't be shocked if you see a lineup that consists of Starling Marte, Ketel Marte, Scherzer's on the bump in game 2, Trevor Story might be over at shortstop. You don't be shocked if 3 out of the 5 guys up in the first inning of the game are different or aren't currently on the team.
Yeah, this is going to be like the force trades in Madden. We're going to build a super team right here. You got Jose Ramirez at third, Story at short. I mean, you got Cole, DeGrom, and Scherzer's your 1, 2, 3. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. So I wanted to end this show with a new segment that I've been teasing, but I was too lazy to do for the last couple episodes. But this time we are going to do it. We're going to educate all of us. So it's called Stat Talk. It's just going to be the last 5 minutes. And I'm going to introduce a new stat. A lot of you may already be familiar with some of the stats, but some of you may not. So we mentioned there's a lot of analytics and deep dives and advanced metrics and stuff like that in baseball now. And a lot of people don't really make sense of it. So I wanted to make a little bit of sense of them. And we can learn together. We can go piece by piece and build on our knowledge, like a little of a course. And now that we would introduce it, we then are able to talk about it on the podcast, and you'll understand what we're saying. And this is honestly mainly for Damon because Damon's a caveman and Murph is too. So me and you know more of the metrics. So this was supposed to be to educate our own members of the podcast, so that when I say something, it actually means something to them, not just like, oh, is he better than other people at that stat? Oh, cool. Like, no, like We want to know
The
what
fact
this
that
does.
Murphy learned what baseball savant was like a month ago still cracks me up.
And
Like I
he
still
acts like
don't.
it was he was the first to find it. He's like, yo, have you
I
ever
know.
seen this website, Baseball Reference?
Yeah, it was one of those nights we were doing the roll calls where we were banging out like 3 or 4 of them. We'd been on there for 2 hours. He goes, "Guys, I think I may have just found a new website for us to use. Like
Yeah.
baseball
He
savant
couldn't even say
maybe?"
savant either, too.
He's like, "You guys ever heard of this?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah, as a matter of fact, I have,
I
man.
have, Murphy.
Welcome to the internet.
Yeah. So the first one we're gonna start pretty easy. It's not even that easy, but it's easy in terms of the advanced metrics. So we're gonna start with FIP. FIP is fielding independent pitching. So a lot of people there are metrics to base. One of the better metrics to base a hitter's production on isn't batting average anymore. It's things like weighted runs created plus and other stuff like that. So I think one of the best metrics to measure a pitcher by is FIP, fielding independent pitching. So basically, all the other pitching statistics like ERA and wins all rely on like the rest of the team's performance and in some capacity. So like ERA relies on the defense behind you, and wins rely on run support. So it's not a true gauge on how the pitcher is actually doing. So you want to look at something that you want to evaluate the pitcher on just things that they can control. So that's what FIP does. FIP is like it ultimately isolates the performance of the pitcher separate from the ability of the defense behind him. So it's on the same scale as ERA. So, and if you could take it one step further and do XFIP, which is the expected FIP, which is the same, but it adjusts for ballpark factors, weather conditions, stuff like that. Like Coors Field is different, and what would be a home run here if it's Yankee Stadium versus another one. So that's a cool thing too, that it adjusts for ballpark factors. But regular FIP is something that I think is very cool, and I think we should use on the show more often. And for example, you can even use it to do like projections. Like, is somebody getting lucky with the defense behind them, or are they not? So specifically pitchers on the Yankees, they're probably going to have a lower FIP than an ERA. I don't know, a lower. I'm confusing myself now.
They're gonna have a higher FIP. No, a lower FIP than ERA.
Than ERA, because their ERA is inflated because the defense behind them is bad. So the scenarios that could happen is like if FIP is greater than ERA, that means you're getting lucky with the defense. Your ERA should probably climb soon. It's probably going to go up and go up towards the mean. So if the ERA is greater than the FIP, that means you're getting unlucky with bad defense, some errors behind you that's inflating your ERA.
Listen to the Action Network.
Then your ERA actually shows. So maybe it's going to come down a bit, and that's something that you could bet on, like you're saying. So
no, I say listen to the Action Network talk about it every Wednesday. We got 2 great guys that come on. The ones who they both bet day-to-day games. One of their big things is they talk about FIP. They talk about these advanced metrics, which you will learn about from us. Apply that to the betting. You'll see why they pick the people they pick, why they expect them for regression or to bounce back, whatever it may be. And this is a big one. So little Action Network ad for you every Wednesday. Listen to that. You won't regret it. They're actually really good at betting, a lot better than us. So
oh yeah. So one thing I wanted to do before we end the episode is, with this in mind, I wanted you to guess on the Yankees who is the worst in FIP and who is the best. So start with the worst. Who do you think the worst on the Yankees this year is for FIP? Who has the highest FIP?
Starters and relievers?
Yeah.
Sessa.
No.
Really?
Sessa's having a nice year. Whether you
okay, no, I'm saying it might be partially because of luck. Okay, then Tyone.
No, he's up there though. The highest FIP on the team, possibly due to like a small sample size for this one. So I have number 2 also, but Brooks Kriske.
You fuck. That was going to be my pick, but he has like 2 innings.
He's got like 4 innings, I think.
That's cheating.
He has a 9.66 FIP, but I went one step further. One who has more of a sample size. Basically, the worst pitcher on the Yankees is Justin Wilson. So.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Claps to you, Cashman, for acquiring Justin Wilson. 6.84 FIP for Justin Wilson. Not great.
It's not good.
So if you had to guess who has the best FIP, lowest on the team, who would that be?
Chapman.
No.
Really?
No.
You sure?
Yes, really. And no, he does not.
Are you giving me some like bullshit thing? Like, somebody came up for one game and threw an inning? Or Is this like is somebody with a real sample size?
It's actually a pretty decent sample size.
Loizaga?
No.
I don't know.
Nestor Cortez.
Oh, get the fuck out
No,
of here!
there's a sample size with that. He's been pitching a little bit. It's not like a crazy low sample size, but it's something that is enough to bring up this. Obviously, the next one is Cole. Cole has a 2.44 FIP. That's obvious. I didn't know why you didn't say Cole, but Nestor Cortez.
I wanted to be
198 FIP. Give Nestor some love. Second tour with the Yankees doing it.
Fair enough. Where's Chapman on that? I figured.
I don't know. I don't know. I wrote it on good old pen and paper, so I don't have the.
Yeah, we're an old school podcast.
Oh yeah, old school with the new school stats. you gotta remember your roots. So that'll do it for me for this episode 136. I think it is. We're cruising up there. If you liked it, make sure to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. If you didn't like it, also give us a 5-star rating because that's fun. I mean, if you got this far, you probably enjoy us at some point. So 5-star rating on iTunes would help us a lot. Subscribe to the YouTube. We do these live on YouTube every time. Bronx Pinstripes YouTube page. Full video podcast will be on there all the time. And yeah, call the voicemail line 914-469-2168. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say.
Damon home?
No, it's just making sure I said all the housekeeping things I wanted to say.
I saw you looking up there. Damon ran out of gas. That is why he is not joined with us tonight. So
yeah, and Murph is doing Murph things.
I figured it was like the Friends episode where Ross runs out of gas. So there's just Damon lost in the middle of New York somewhere.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be here next week and not frozen out in the wilderness.
Yeah. So we'll see. With that being said, let's look forward to a fully opened stadium with the Yankees this tomorrow when you guys listen to this. If you're listening to it on Friday, the Yankee Stadium is fully open. I might fuck around and go to the game. Why not?
You earned it, dude. You put in your 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. So does that mean Billy's is fully open now? And
apparently, I saw a tweet that said that Billy's was going to be a zoo tomorrow. So do with that what you may.
Wow, we beat COVID, dude.
Yeah, we did.
All right,
You're welcome. I got my vaccine. You're welcome. I beat COVID.
You beat COVID. All right. Well, let's go Yanks. Let's start a winning streak. We got a lot of ground to make up.